Good afternoon, honorable members, and welcome to the meeting. It is now 3 o'clock. We have agreed in our last meeting that we will meet today to further deliberate on the outstanding items on the agenda which we had in the last meeting. And in that meeting, we were also supposed to have received a presentation from General Staban on security arrangements. I see he's here in the meeting. General Staban, can I check if you are ready to make a presentation?
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair and Honorable members of the Ad Hoc Committee. We are not ready at this stage, Honorable Chair and Honorable members, to do a presentation. The reason is that we are completing the overall plan, which would be indeed ready to do a presentation. Perhaps I must also indicate that when we do also the presentation, it would not be, would also request the chair that our presentation would not be, shouldn't be done in a virtual platform.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let's do like this. Once you, just to steal your mouth, once you are ready to come and present before the committee, you will let us know. And whatever requirements that you need, you will also inform us.
Yes, Honorable Chair, will do that.
Thank you so much. Bonani, can I check if we have apologies?
Good afternoon, Chair. I have not received an apology.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are going to proceed, honorable members. We have those two items. That is, in fact, we can discuss them as one item because we will only take a round of discussions. And in the event members have not successfully persuaded each other, we can take the last round of discussions and feel what the sentiment of the meeting is on those two items. Just to remind you, one of the items was on the second batch of names, or what we may want to refer to as the additional list of names. And the second one was the matter of members whose names would have been mentioned at the commission, or would be, or may be mentioned during the ad hoc committee proceedings. And we had given the Democratic Alliance chance on that day to make a presentation, especially that the matter affected their member, Honorable Diane Kolabanat. The DA made a presentation here, and in their motivation, they were of the view that the matter should wait until General Mkhwanazi has appeared before the committee and made a presentation, and then the committee can then decide how it takes the matter forward. Maybe let me check with the honorable members from the DA if I have correctly represented them, or they want to make a statement.
Good afternoon, Chair. Thank you very much. You have correctly presented our argument, Chair. At the moment, there's nothing but conjecture, and we see no reason for the Honourable Kolobona to recuse herself at this point. She's very acutely aware of her responsibilities regarding a conflict, and should such a conflict arise, she will act accordingly, but that has not yet arisen. Thank you.
Okay, so you are fine with the motivation that you made in the last meeting and what you have just reiterated now?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, and maybe before we go to the discussions of the items, can I request Bonani to flight the list of names on the screen, the names that were gathered in the last meeting?
Chairperson.
Hello, Bonani.
Yeah, no, these are the names, but I just wanted to alert you to the fact that Mr. Skosana has raised his hand.
Mr. Skosana has raised his hand.
Yes, Chair.
Okay, before we go to Mr. Skosana, between the last meeting and today, did you receive any proposal from any member or any party?
Chair, we have got a list that we received today from the EFF.
Okay. Maybe is it the EFF alone that has submitted names?
That's correct, Chair.
Okay.
Chair, forgive me for interrupting. We would also, the Honourable Cameron wants to make some suggestions as well to the list. We haven't submitted the names, we're submitting them today in the meeting.
Okay, let's do it this way. Let's take the rotation so that each party can confirm if they have submitted their proposal, or if they want to submit the proposal now. May we please start with the African National Congress? We are not discussing the two items. We just want to check if there is any party that wants to make a submission on the names or have submitted their list. So we will come after this round to go into full discussions.
Chairperson?
Bonani?
Maybe before the African National Congress comes in, there's a request from broadcasters for members to switch out their videos when they speak.
Okay. I think the members hear that. African National Congress.
Chair. I'm
Hello.
sorry. Honorable Malema.
Okay, Honorable Malema.
What type of procedure is that one that we must switch on cameras if we want to speak? There's no such a procedure. We've been running this meeting without switching on cameras, and that has never disturbed the proceedings of this meeting. There's no need for that.
Yeah.
Honourable Malema.
Yeah, no, honorable members, let's say that where you feel that your network coverage may be affected by the camera, the member can mention it to say, I would have loved to switch off my camera, but unfortunately, I may not have a proper coverage, or because today is Friday late in the afternoon, we may be having other commitments, receiving the dead and many others. It may not be possible for me, given the background of my environment, to do so. I think in that way, we would have explained to the South Africans why it may not be possible for us at this moment to switch off, to switch on our cameras. Does it make sense, honorable members? Thank you so much. Can I please check with the ANC if you want to make additions to the list that was gathered in the last meeting?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. The African National Congress will not be adding names, Chair. Thank you.
Can we then move to the MKP?
Hello, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Skosana,
have you called us because the network was problematic here?
Yeah, the platform is yours now to check with you if
thank you, Chair.
You have any further names that you may want to add to the list.
Or you wanted you still wanted the additional name. There's an additional name, but Nombalo, like you, is staying in a very bad area. The network is troubling him. But I've got the names which he wanted to give the committee to today. One is Tyler Shabalala, a prosecutor. And two is Brian Padiache from IDEC. And the last one is Advocate Mkhwanazi.
Are you satisfied that your name are captured on the screen?
I'm satisfied, Chair. Yes.
And are you satisfied that those are the additions that you want to make? Hello, Honorable Skosana. Honorable Skosana.
Yes, Chair.
Yes, I wanted to check with yourselves if those are the only three additions that you want to make.
Those were the three which Honorable Nomvalo came with, and Honorable Tongwe.
Okay, and then what is the motivation behind the three names?
The ID, Brian, I'm told that when General Mkhwanazi, he raised his name as well. And the other two, when it comes to the state capture issue, that's the motivation from my colleagues for Tyler Shabalala, who's been named as well by General Mkhwanazi as well.
Okay. Are you satisfied that I can move to the next party?
I'm satisfied, Chair. Besides that, I've raised my hand before earlier, but perhaps at a later stage. Thank you.
Okay. Can we now move to the Democratic Alliance?
Yes, Chair, thank you very much. It's Honourable Cameron. Chair, there are two proposals. The one is the proposal of Lieutenant General Peter Jacobs from Crime Intelligence. I believe that we need as broad a picture as possible. And I think General Jacobs, previously having been in challenging situations with regards to CI, might be able to enlighten us quite some bit, especially because he's been in that environment for so long. Chair, the second person is MMC Smith from the city of Cape Town, specifically relating to the public allegations that were made that Minister Mkhwanazi had private briefings about the raid on his office earlier in 2025, and that also the pre-informed or pre-information that was shared with certain MPs with regards to the raid before then. So I think that might touch very well on the allegations regarding political interference. And then, Chair, the third is more of a question or an objection. I'm not 100% sure about the invitation of ex-advocate Tefo. The reason, very simply, is that the former advocate was struck off the roll of legal practitioners by the Gauteng High Court in 2022. Many complaints of misconduct and dishonesty, as well as misappropriation of funds. He since sought leave to appeal the judgment, but his application was dismissed in May 2024 because of it being filed late and it lacked reasonable prospects of success. So I can provide all the reasons or the detail of the misconduct, as well as the misappropriation of funds, as well as the failure to previously cooperate. And then the last one was just the disrespectful conduct as well. That was mentioned in court too. And I'm aware that he has also been now since our last meeting been sending messages to some of the parliamentary staff as well in quite a threatening manner. So I don't see how someone like that can add value to this process. Thank you, Chair.
With regard to the last mention named, you are already debating whether it must be on the list or not.
Apologies, Chair. I just wanted to say all 3 points from the DA.
Yes, I'm saying to you that with the last mention named, the name of Advocate Tefo, your view is that it must not be part of the list.
Correct. That's correct, Chair.
Yeah, no, we are still coming to discussions.
100%.
So the names that are on the screen are the names that you have suggested as the Democratic Alliance. Are you happy that they have been captured on the screen?
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. The EFF.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, honourable members, and to our support team. Chair, the efficient EFF that we are, we sent our names via email, so I think they might want to just flight it. Some of them are overlapped with some of the existing names as well. There were 18, if my memory serves me correct. Perhaps they can flight the names.
Yeah, Honorable Matthias, may you please take us through and read the names one by one and satisfy yourself that
that's our list. Yep, that's exactly our list.
May you please read the names one by one.
Okay, it's President Cyril Ramaphosa, the former police minister Nathi Mthethwa, the minister Ronald Lamola, who was served more in his capacity as the Justice and Correctional Services. The current Minister of Sports is Gayton McKenzie, Dumsani Kamalo, then the Deputy National Commissioner for Policing, the Deputy National Commissioner for Support Services. Okay, it's going off the list now. Then General Khan. We had agreed anyway at the last meeting on the IDEC head. Are we going to go up a bit? Then also the Hawks head is already on the existing list. And 11 and 12, MP Glennis and Adams, they were already on the list. We've added the Member of Parliament or the chairperson for the Police Committee, Honourable Cameron, also the members who were present in the Portfolio Committee on the 5th of March meeting, the Police Chief of Staff, this is who's already on their list, which is number 15, and number 16 is the Acting Ekurhuleni Metro Police Chief, Julius Mkhwanazi. We've added number 17, the former Executive Director for the COG, Malusi Mantlu. Also the mayor, the former mayor for the COJ, Herman. Number 19 is the Metro Police Officer, Johannes Mohlati. And then it's Brown, number 20, it's Brown Moketsi, Vusi Mkhwanazi, and you need to go up a little bit. And then Khatso Molefe. That's our list.
Okay. Honorable Matthias, would you want to motivate your list?
For each one, Chair, or is there anyone that we want to, in particular, that there needs to be motivation? Well,
I can come in, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Honorable Malema, let's allow her, if there is anything further she wants to say, when she finishes, you can come in.
All right, thanks.
No, I'm fine, President. I'm happy for you to take over. I just didn't know if there was any particular names that needed motivating. I thought we'd cut it short that way. But, President, thank you.
Through your permission, Chair. Come in. Through your permission.
Yes, you are allowed.
President Cyril Ramaphosa is mentioned, and former police minister is mentioned. Remember, General Mkhwanazi said Minister Mthethwa called him to his house to speak about removal of Mutluli's case. The Minister Ronald Lamola, Brown Mokotsi, is reported to have been involved in the apprehension of Thabo Bester during his term as a Minister of Justice and Correctional Service. Minister Gayton McKenzie said he wants to be called because he's got a lot to say and he's got a lot of information about the criminal syndicate that is taking place in this country. And therefore, we think someone in that position who says, I know criminal activities, and I can tell you which police is involved, which one is not involved, which general and all of that. He needs to be put on the stand so that he can be tested. Khumalo, I think we all know why he's there. Musiliki, for his purpose of policing, we need to get that informed input, and then support services as well. General Khan was also mentioned by Mkhwanazi several times, and he says he's also suspecting that information was leaked from intelligence management to Mokotsi, and Mokotsi who passed it to him, and then Mokotsi mentioned Khan. IDEC, we all know why. Oxhead, we know that there's an allegation that, amongst others, when Molefe was going to be arrested or something like that, he was called and he sent the hawks and all manner of things. We need clarity from that perspective. MP Breitenbach advocate dealt with the Mkhwanazi's case, and she can share more light when she's on the other side of the table, because she'll be given an opportunity to help us in that regard. We know why Adams is Honorable Fidel Adams is mentioned. The chairperson of the Portfolio Committee is mentioned that they've on several occasions tried to come before the committee, and they could not get joy, and eventually they were given that opportunity by the chairperson of the committee, which we think that he will have more information as to what necessitated him or what made him to even take such a bold decision to allow them to come before the committee and make such a presentation. The members of Portfolio Committee present at the 5th March, that committee is actually, being accused of not having done anything when they were told of these serious allegations. And by implication, it means then the parliament, even when it was informed of these activities, nothing was done. So we want members of the committee to come and share some light with regard to that. Police Chief of Staff, we all know many times his name is appearing there. Mkhwanazi and all of that is a middle place around all of those activities there. Julius Mkhwanazi is alleged that he gave Nhlanhla blue light, and he says he has not done that, and he was put on a special leave for those allegations by Ekurhuleni Metro Police. We might need him to come and share more light, because there might be issues even beyond the issues of blue lights. Former executive director in the city of Johannesburg, we know the Metro Police are also implicated, but we also know that we were told there were letters about General Sibia from the city of Johannesburg, and we think that both him and the former mayor, who actually was presiding over the municipality when Sibia was employed in Johannesburg, and all of that. COJ, Metro Police Officer, I'm told that he actually was instructed to go and check whose car is parked outside Mkhwanazi and run registrations on that car, and so effectively, he was not even on duty or assigned to engage on such activities. So he might have to come and explain why can he be summoned to come and run such things on private citizens who have not even opened a case or called police or try to get law enforcement intervention through the proper channels and not in a crooked manner as suggested. So we think COJ Metro Police Officer is important. Brown Mkhwanazi, we know he has explained a lot of things about his involvement. He sees nothing wrong, that he was facilitating between minister and these people. He was mediating, and he was not mediating as a minister. He was mediating or talking to him as a comrade. So he must come and tell us, when do you take leave from being a minister and being a comrade? Is there such a thing that there's a day where you can just say, I'm no longer a minister today, so he's got a lot of explanation to do, including those facilitations between him and Nhlanhla. Nhlanhla is also central, implicated many times. and Katiso Molefe. So those are the names that we propose, Chair, under those circumstances. Like Honorable Cameroon, we suggest that Honorable Deputy Minister Kassel Matali and Honorable Deputy Minister Dr. Poli Wishielo, they must be excluded because we think institutionally we've got a lot of people who with authority that are going to come before us and explain whatever we needed anyone to explain. They've got no executive authority, they've got no delegated powers, they are not implicated or mentioned anywhere, and it will help us to speed up this process if we get people who are not helpful to be removed. Like Honorable Cameroon, we agree that FU has got nothing to offer at all, and will plead with the honorable members when it comes that he needs to be removed. He's got absolutely nothing to offer, and we are not a platform for gossipers. We need people who are going to help us save the justice system of South Africa. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't take long.
Thank you so much, Honorable Member. You had to motivate your list. May we then move to the Inkatha Freedom Party, the IFP.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairperson, and good afternoon, Honorable colleagues on the platform. We have no further names to add. Thank you.
Much, Honorable Mngango. May we please move to the Patriotic Alliance, the PA.
No additional names to add, sir. Thanks.
How many names are there on the screen? If you have to add them to those that were gathered last week. Can I just give you 2 to 3 minutes to do the consolidation and tell us how many names?
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to remind you, because I can see, I'm not sure whether that the 5 names which I've submitted, I think it was President Ramaphosa from Umkhonto Wesizwe, and Honorable Member Conrad Barnett, and Faisal Adams, and Badiachi, and Sunej Pilono, if I remember. I just said I'm not even sure about the spelling. But the issue of Conrad Barnett at a later stage, I just wanted for you to note that the motivation and the debate on the day, which did not end, we said we're going to talk about it today. I'm going to make a motivation on that because he was mentioned by General Mkhwanazi on the 5th of March in our committee meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Jali. With due respect, I have given members and their respective parties an opportunity to suggest names, and I said it up front that once we are done with this exercise, I will then come to rotate again for you to allow you to discuss the 2 items, which will be this list that we have just concluded it, and then will be the matter. If you want to make it the matter of Nhlanhla Barnett, is okay, but it's about members of this committee whose names have been Honorable Nhlanhla Barnett. It's about members of this committee whose names may be mentioned. So for now, we have the name of Honorable Nhlanhla Barnett, who is an alternate member of this committee. So I'm going to rotate between the parties for deliberations. So can we allow Bonani to consolidate the list and tell us how many names we have on the screen?
Hand is raised.
James.
Thank you so much, Chair. Chair, I want to mention with regards to Herman Mashaba appearing, he was mayor between 2016 and 2019. And the letter that Honorable Malema referenced as part of Mkhwanazi's evidence is from the year 2022. And at that time, that was Mpho Palatse. So in actual fact, Mpho Palatse should be called. Thank you.
Okay, Honorable James. Okay, let me take Honorable Shongwe. Honorable Shongwe, your microphone is muted.
Me to respond on the matter of the former COJ mayor, or you want to wait because it's in a
Please,
different
you
context?
must not. I beg you not to respond because I'm
Okay,
still
no
going to
problem.
give
That's fine.
yourselves chance during the rotation period.
All right.
I see the hand of Honorable Skosana is up.
Yeah, Shongwe and Nomvalo, they've got a problem. But he before, because when you call him, he sent a message that he raised the name of David Makura, who was the premier at that point in time, and Collins Lichwalo was the ref CEO. He raised those two names from his side. I thank you, Chair.
Okay. Bonane, have you captured those names?
Person, I've just captured them now.
Okay. And how many names do we have? I see the hands of Honorable James and Honorable Matthys are still up.
Sorry, Chair, lowering mine.
Chair, sorry, just repeat that. I just had to step away.
I'm saying I see your hand is still up.
No, it's an old hand, it's a legacy hand.
Okay, thank you so much. Bonani, you will let us know when you are ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. The list that I have is 34.
Thank you so much. Honorable members, we are now going straight to deliberations on these two items, the list and the names of members of this committee who would have been mentioned or will be mentioned during the proceedings. Can I start with the rotation process or the rotation activity and take the African National Congress?
No, thank you very much, Thank you very much, Chair. And good afternoon to you and all my colleagues, the honorable members who are here, and our legal team and everybody an opportunity to join our meeting. Chair, I would like to suggest that in discussing the two items you have suggested, and perhaps we may have to start with one and come back to the second one. But if it is better to discuss it simultaneously, I also have no major problem, except that I would have preferred that we separate the two. Now, let me start off with the long list of names that have now been placed before us, 34 or 35 names altogether. We proposed during our last meeting on Tuesday, Chairperson and honorable members, we proposed as the ANC that this matter must be discussed today as opposed to that day. Because we were...
Budan?
The Portfolio Committee on Justice is intervening.
Yeah, just hold on, Chief Whip. I think there is a member whose microphone is not muted. I have not been able to identify that member. May the member please mute their microphone. Chief Whip, thank you so much. You may proceed.
No, thanks, Chair. So I was saying that during the discussion on Tuesday, we made a proposal as the African National Congress that this matter requires a bit of time for us to reflect and discuss properly. Because we were very concerned that while we have the authority as the Ad Hoc Committee of Parliament to invite and to subpoena anyone and everyone that we deem relevant and appropriate for our purposes, the possibility existed that in the course of discharging that privilege or the right we enjoy, we may lose direction in terms of the purpose for which this Ad Hoc Committee was set up. And therefore, I would like to remind the members, and I will explain why I'm reminding the members about what exactly did we agree on in the meeting at which we adopted the terms of references. And I want to draw your attention, Chairperson of the committee, and I'm going to quote it verbatim to make it easy for members who may not have this document in front of them. I want to draw your attention to the scope of our work, especially in relation to paragraph 4.1 of that document on the terms of references of the Ad Hoc Committee. We said there, Chair, and I quote, that the evidence provided by Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, along with any other submissions presented to the committee, will inform the committee's approach in determining which witnesses to invite. However, such evidence or submissions shall not restrict the committee's discretion in deciding who may be called as a witness. Now, Chair, I want to bring your attention to the first part of the paragraph, the first sentence of the paragraph that I've read. That it is our considered view as the African National Congress that even before we can come to a conclusion about the list of the names that must be invited, we should still be very loyal to the position we adopted on our terms of references. That any of the witnesses or submissions that we are going to consider will come secondary from the presentation that is supposed to be led by Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi when he appears before our committee. So, Chair, we would like to suggest that the committee should exercise its mind and change the way in which the various submissions before this meeting have actually directed us to, which is the temptation of enlisting a long list of people with motivations, of course. We may decide when we discuss the motivation which name carries through, which name does not carry through. But our view as the African National Congress is that that on its own would be an exercise in futility. Because unless the General Mkhwanazi appears before us, it might be very difficult for us to make an informed position about whom to invite and who not to invite. The only reason the ANC had agreed with the other names of the potential witnesses we identified, that would be the acting Minister of Police, the Minister of Police who's on leave, the leadership of SAPS in general, the generals who have been mentioned. The reason why we were amenable to that view was on the basis of an understanding that in any case, those are people who occupy important positions within the Department of the South African Police Service. And therefore, irrespective of what kind of evidence is presented before us when the KZN Provincial Commissioner appears before the committee, it is inevitable that those who occupy leadership role, especially at the national level, would be required to appear before the committee and provide their own evidence in terms of what they understood to have been the issues raised by Mkhwanazi in relation to the department they are responsible for and the roles as individuals they are playing in that particular department. So it was on those bases that we did not have any objection when names were proposed, especially for those, including for that matter, the recently retired or former Minister of Police, which is Mr. Begicel. Now, Chair, we're raising this matter because you see now we've got 34 names. Never mind how long will it take us to go through these names. But we're of the view that we are not in a better position firmly to determine whether or not these names are actually required for us to discharge our responsibility. And we are also cognizant of the fact that, and members have argued this point, that we are not a subcommittee or anything of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry. We accept that. But we also believe that others will accept the fact that the Judicial Commission of Inquiry and ourselves are meant to complement each other in the final analysis in terms of what then becomes the practical steps to be taken to remedy the situation confronting the South African Police Service and the criminal justice system in general. So the two of us are not supposed to contest one another. Even the scope of our terms of references are not the same. So we want to propose, a chairperson, that rather than enlisting the long list of names and maybe spending the next 2 hours to debate whether this name must be in and that name must be out, let's take a principled position that we have all these names as identified by the various members of this committee. But at this point in time, we are not taking a decision that these names we must go out and work on them appearing before the Ad Hoc Committee. Because the moment we say we are confirming this list, it becomes a direct mandate to our legal team that therefore, immediately after this meeting is adjourned, they must start making contact with all of those names in order to prepare all that has to be prepared for anyone who appears as a witness before the Ad Hoc Committee. But our firm proposal as the ANC is that let's not go that way. Rather than say we've identified these names, we have this list and we pack it on the side. We proceed to the first meeting with General Mkhwanazi, hear what he says, and on the strength of what he would have presented to us, in addition or in subtraction to what he has presented in the Commission of Inquiry, because as I said, I want to underline the point that our terms of references are not exactly the same. There may be similarities. We then depart from that presentation to say, let's go back to the list that was identified. Who exactly do we think we still need to convene or to subpoena or to invite to appear before the Ad Hoc Committee? I want to conclude, Chairperson, by saying there may be a view that says, but that is going to delay our work. I don't think that that view would really materialize. That view would really hold, in a sense that once we listen to General Mkhwanazi, we had already taken a position earlier on that the next after him is going to be the National Police Commissioner. The next after him, I think we had said Sbia, if not Minister Mkhwanazi. So already our agenda is packed. If at the end of the meeting with Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, we conclude that as we're proceeding to Sbia, we must go back to that list and add so and so. We come back to that discussion and say, it's quite clear that we're going to need so and so because of the roles that they are currently playing or have played in the process that we're investigating. So, Chairperson, our main concern is that this manner of proceeding has a potential to misdirect us as opposed to dealing with the matter in a way that is consistent with our own adopted terms of references. And I'm very clear in my mind that the possibility exists that today's meeting, and even by the time we end it, we may have not concluded the matter. We are going to be consumed by the debate on the suitability of each of these names to appear before the Ad Hoc Committee, which may very well be the case that at a later stage, after we've had one or two witnesses, all of us are going to be convinced that in essence, the names that we spend a day or two to fight about are not going to be necessary for purposes of ourselves coming to the determination that is going to help Parliament and the people of South Africa to take corrective measures to deal with whatever weaknesses arising from the work that we're going to do. So at this point in time, Chair, I just want to address that issue, that principle first. And I proposed earlier on, I don't know whether you and the meeting agreed with that then the second issue that must be discussed separately. What do we say about those of our own colleagues who are members of Parliament, who are with us in this committee, whose names have been cited, some of them in a negative way, allegedly, others I can see they are being added, maybe not necessarily from the point of view of the negative way. As I heard what other members were saying about the importance of this and that so that they give us information. My view is that let's deal with that issue separate from a principal question about at what point should we be adopting the list and who should constitute that list in order for us effectively to discharge our responsibility. That's my submission, Comrade Chen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
So, on the second item, you want to suggest that you may want to come back later.
Yes, Chair. I believe that it's a very involved item on its own. And I think if we club it with the one I was addressing, we might not do service. And I think we should deal with it for what it is. Thanks.
May I check from your party if you have a member who want to talk on this item?
Yes, the Comrade Kusel is a name. Yes, ahead.
Honorable Sangoni.
Thank you very much, Comrade Chair. Honorable Chairperson, the Chief Whip has covered our position succinctly. I just wanted to add very briefly, Chair, the issue of maybe a request to the legal team for an opinion, so that as and when we are discussing these names, we need to have a legal opinion on the application of the sub judice rules to some of the witnesses. I think that if you look at some of the names that are raised, you have people who have matters in court. I don't want to assume that sub judice applies in this case, and perhaps if the legal team would be able to give us guidance there. But I think in everything that the Chief Whip has said, just to emphasize the fact that currently, as the committee, we have no evidence before us. And I think this is a point that has been made repeatedly, especially in the last meeting, that there's no evidence before us. And indeed, continuing the way that we are subjecting ourselves to things that we are hearing from the commission, which, as we said, we are not a subcommittee of. Thank you, Chair.
May I move to the next party, the MKP?
Thank you, Chair. I guess that the names, we all have the names now, and I think as the Chief Whip of the ANC has already articulated that, we agreed that on our term of reference that any person of interest can be called in this core committee, because General Mkhwanazi was very clear that there's an issue of a judiciary here. Besides the issue of the top management or the politicians in all what he raised on his press conference. But besides the press conference, there was some member sits in the police portfolio committee. I sit there. And when given an opportunity, I'm going to explain exactly what happened on the 5th of March. When General Mkhwanazi came before us and the ministers and the top management of the South African Police Service. And as I said earlier, the issue of our two honorable members who were mentioned by General Mkhwanazi, not at the Madanga Commission, but at our committee meeting. The name of, in particular, Honorable Barnard was mentioned by General Mkhwanazi. So it should not be like her name was only raised at the commission. It was raised before us. As I said, in one of that, we were a bit slow, and we have to take responsibility that we could not do what we're supposed to do, if that's the case. But the issue that the name only derives from the Madanga Commission is misleading, because it doesn't come from there. Mkhwanazi made it very clear on our core committee, and one can submit as well evidence on that if there's any dispute when it comes to the issue of honorable member to recuse herself. That is based on what Mkhwanazi, General Mkhwanazi has raised, on the 5th of March. The other second issue, which perhaps we'll come back to it, we'll make our own input on that. But for us as Umkhonto Wesizwe Party, we are very clear about the name which we submitted, the 5 which are submitted in the last meeting, which I've mentioned earlier, and the other members, Nomvalo and Shongwe, they've raised. Initially, they gave 3, but I see the 5, the other 2 came from Nomvalo, Makura, and the other one. If there's any debate about that, motivation, we are ready. Thank you.
I think that Chief Whip raises a good point. Just a few comments is that I think the list is very long. Now, if that's what it's going to take, then that's what it's going to take. But I think we must make sure, we think that we must make sure that we don't unnecessarily drift away from the crux of the mandate that we've been given. Even though it would have been fantastic for us to be able to solve all of the problems in the criminal justice system, I think, our mandate is to specifically focus on the allegations made by General Mkhwanazi. We must also just remember, Chair, that the list isn't finite. It's not something that needs to be set in stone now. Things may come up during testimony of different individuals that may lead the committee to decide to invite someone else. So I think we just need to constantly remind ourselves when we decide about the list that we need to make sure that that we invite the individuals that are specifically needed with relation to the allegations made by General Mkhwanazi. Thank you, Chair.
The EFF.
Thank you, Chair. From the EFF side, firstly, Chair, we're not going to be part of a committee and we're going to have a watered down ad hoc committee just so Parliament can say that they did something about it, but we did not go deep and investigate as our terms of reference. And we spent a lot of time on those terms of reference specifically for the point that we can get to where we can properly investigate and make proper binding recommendations so we can unearth the rot that we see in our criminal justice system. The reason we are here today, Chair, is because our evidence leaders have told us they've exhausted the initial list and they wanted to have a list of people they can start consulting with. So our understanding is that we are giving names, let them go and do preliminary consultations. They can come back and report that, okay, this person does not have evidence within the scope of our terms of reference. I hardly think that the list of what we have, 35 or 38, is even exhaustive at this stage. We also know that there's going to be submissions via the public platform as well that we have to take into consideration at some point, which will be briefed by our evidence leaders. It also doesn't mean that every witness that comes here is going to be give a whole day and we're going to spend one day on each witness. Some it might only take 10, 15 minutes and it might just be to deal with a specific matter. So let's not start off on a footing on saying that we must wait. By us waiting and not allowing the legal team or our evidence leaders rather to at least start consulting with the names. I mean, we've also been in the space, we politicians as well, so it can't be that, okay, we don't have evidence before us, but there is evidence, or well, not evidence, but there's information that is out there in public. Let our evidence leaders go and consult, let them come back and report, okay, this person doesn't have evidence that is within the terms of reference, and we'll make a decision whether they should continue the process or not. That's what they're there for, that's what they're being paid for. Let us focus on trying to root out the rot. Let's play our role as what we are supposed to. As Parliament, we've been taken under the cold. This is not even going to, there's a commission, what was it, the Zonda Commission that said the same thing. Parliament did not do its oversight. Now we're here and we are also trying to avoid having to do our oversight, worried about the issue of time, that it's too many witnesses. Let us be exhaustive, let us be diligent, and let us represent the people who voted for us to be here in Parliament, and let's do the best that we possibly can do. And we must not allow any constraints, including financial constraints, to stop us, because this issue is very serious. I mean, it's rot in the country. Nobody is safe. Our children are being raped and nothing is happening. And here we are busy discussing on that 35 is too many witnesses for us to come. No, it's not right. Let's do the right thing and let's do our jobs diligently. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, if I may add.
Yes, Honorable Member, you are welcome.
Chairperson and Honorable Sangun, I'm pleading with you, honorable members, to listen to the theme message of Honorable Matis. Is that the first list has been exhausted through consultations. If there is additional list, let's get those people, let's provide. Now, in answering Honorable Sangon's concern that these people have got there's no evidence before us or anything of that sort. That is the purpose of the consultation process, to establish if we'll get anything or not. But if it's very clear, open to us as a committee that we're not getting anything here, let's agree even without subjecting such names to consultations. But the legal team, the evidence leaders are here to help us to say, okay, we received these names, we've consulted with these people, and we think the following can help the commission arrive at a reasonable conclusion. But for us to just come and say the list is too long, this problem is not too long. It's humongous. It's a huge problem. To be compared to the list we have. We can't even complain about the list. The rot is so deep that the list is expected to be beyond what we've presented if you come to appreciate the rot we're dealing with. So we cannot start on a point of laziness. I say, no, this is too long. This is going to take too long. Some of the people are not going to be. We can take 4 a day. We are allowed to ask questions for 30 minutes. Some of us will not even have questions for other witnesses. They may be so clear. So let's not assume that, therefore, if it's 64 names, it will mean 64 days or 100 days. No. Let the evidence leaders help us through consultations. The names are huge, including on the matter of sub judice. Only the evidence leaders will say, we have consulted with these people and we realize there's going to be a serious problem of people self-incriminating or this or that. And therefore, we think the following people cannot appear until these matters are exhausted before the judiciary. So to now get list of people that were mentioned, people that we also think they've got a role to play in rescuing the judicial system in South Africa, the justice system in South Africa, we say no, let's leave these names, they are too long, we'll see as we go along. Why do you have an ad hoc committee without people coming to appear before it? So please, Chair, we plead that let these names that have been submitted be subjected to consultations, and then we shall be advised, including the president. The president was mentioned in the committee where the minister said he consulted the president on the disbandment of the PTT. Why is Parliament being used to shield the president from accountability? We are now failing again in our responsibility to hold the executive accountable. You are so ready to hold ministers accountable. But when it comes to the president, no, let's see if that the need has arisen from the committee in Parliament, from the committee, but equally from accountability point of view, because the president has got a duty to account to us as to what whether he knew if his minister was involved, you want to shield it, because I know central to what you are suggesting is that the president must not appear before us. There's no need for that, and you are just ashamed to go straight about it. It's wrong. The president is not above the constitution. The president must be held accountable by Parliament, and this committee should do that. And we appeal that no one must be treated differently. All of us must be subjected to the accountability, and the executive, more in particular, must be held accountable by Parliament. That's why they established the Ad Hoc Committee. Thanks, Chair.
So much, honorable members from the EFF. May I please take the IFP, Honorable Mwango.
Well, thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I'm sorry that I will not actually switch on the camera because of the circumstances under which I'm actually sitting. I have challenges of connectivity here. With regard to the matter that we are actually discussing right now, I had thought that we were actually developing a provisional list of potential, witnesses. And for us at this stage is to note them and then hand them over to the evidence leader to actually do the consultation. And they should actually be able to come back to us and say, look, so and so does not actually have any substantive issues that can actually assist the operations of this committee. Therefore, we then go through the list and eliminate whatever actually would not assist the operation and the working of this ad hoc committee. Because as other honorable members have pointed out, that we still do not have any evidence before us. Once evidence is led by the chief witness, in this case, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, and others for that matter, there might be need for us to actually to revisit the issue of the list, to see if we subtract or add new names that may have actually cropped up in the process of evidence being actually led before this ad hoc committee. So I think that part of what the chief whip of the ANC actually said to me makes sense. Equally, what the Honorable Mr. Malema is making, it makes sense, but I was actually pleading that let's actually accept this list as a provisional pool of names or pool of potential witnesses from which actually we will then be revisiting from time to time to ensure that our work actually is complete. Thank you.
Honorable Stolz.
Yeah, Honorable Chair, I think I would say that we should show consistency in how we debate this issue or how we deal or discuss this issue. In our last meeting, it was said that we cannot just use people that has been named by General Mkhwanazi and then make them sit as witnesses before us. Today, we have names that has been mentioned by General Mkhwanazi and more names, which is not a problem. But then we should be consistent with our discussion of the last week to say that what we put forward last week then should be that wherever General Mkhwanazi is mentioning the names, we consider those to sit before us and then we discuss it. And I disagree with Honorable Malema's logic on the matter, that also to give the view that this committee does not want to have some and want to have some, such as specifically mentioning the president. That's not the position of the committee. So it is wrong to say that this committee is appearing to not want the president to appear or others to appear. No, we want everyone to appear who can assist this committee in coming to the conclusions, in dealing with investigating the veracity and the extent of the allegations that General Mkhwanazi has made. So we should just be very clear about that. We should not say we, because we are all committed to this cause. The way I understand what the chief of the ANC is saying is that the names is good and well, but debating the names at this debating the names as a matter of process, as stated within the terms of reference that we've all agreed upon. That we will first hear the testimony of General Mkhwanazi. This was stated last week as well, to say when we dealt with Honorable Barnard, for an example. It was said, let's hear the testimony of General Mkhwanazi first. Today, there's a different tone. Which one is it? We must show consistency. And I also made reference to our terms of reference. Today, we are again pointed back to our terms of reference. But we are not holding true to that. let me make an example. We ignore now what our terms of reference is saying. First of all, then we are not taking ourselves seriously. Secondly, the practicality of the process is then hampered. Because what it would mean now, and I would like clarity on it, what it would mean now if we continue and we reject the proposal of the Chief Whip, then it would mean that Honorable Ian Cameron, which I agree, by the way, should come before the committee, because General Mkhwanazi has brought what we are dealing with now before the Committee of Police in March. And it would be good to hear, as the chairperson who was presiding over that matter, why is it that the chairperson and the committee did not pursue what General Mkhwanazi put before them then? So I agree with the name. But what it would mean if we deal with it now and not first wait for the testimony of General Mkhwanazi as per our terms of reference. What it would mean now is then Honorable Ian Cameron must then also recuse himself now already, because he's part of that name. How will that now impact our process? Whereas if we say, this is how I'm understanding the proposal of the Chief Whip. If we say we have General Mkhwanazi, like our terms of references, appear before us first, and those within the upper echelon of the Sept's ranking appear before us, but after General Mkhwanazi appears, we then, based on the testimony before us, not on other platforms like in the commission, etc., because I was told here that our position is we are not a subcommittee of the commission. So we will, for ourselves, hear testimony first and then make a decision. We will not follow the queue of the commission. If that's the case, then we should have General Mkhwanazi come, and then we deal with the debate of, based on the testimony we've heard now, these are the people that we want in addition to come. I have no problem. So I agree with the proposal to follow through on our terms of reference, hear the testimony and those that has already come for consultation, and then deal with the relevance or of the names that has been given thereafter. That is my position there, Chair. Thank you.
Can I check something here? Honorable Skosana, are you a member of the Portfolio Committee on the Police?
Sorry, Chair, it's Honorable Shongwe. I think he's struggling with network. I may answer on that one. Yes, he is.
He serves in that Portfolio Committee?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think what...
Chair,
hello, Honorable Skosana.
you called me and I was lost. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to check if you serve in the Portfolio Committee of the Police.
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
No, I think what the EFF said in their submission, they said, Honorable. Hello?
Yes, I'm listening.
Okay, no, I wanted to confirm that you are a member. I think, what the EFF said in their submission was that they mentioned the name of Honorable Cameron and the members of the Portfolio Committee. And I think what we should do is to distinguish between the natural person and the juristic person and write the portfolio committee, because I don't think that General Mkhwanazi, when he appeared before Parliament, he was appearing before Honorable Camera. He was appearing before a portfolio committee. And in any event, whatever Honorable Cameron decides to do or decides to say, it will have to be the decision that the portfolio committee would have taken. He wouldn't speak outside the mandate or the decisions of the portfolio committee. So the best would be to write the portfolio committee. But before I summarize your discussion, let me use my discretion and give Honorable James 1 minute.
My thinking right now, and in the interest of being progressive, we cannot possibly park a list, right? The legal team has said that they now have time on their hands to do consultation. So let them continue with the consultation and advise us in a report in terms of who they think would sort of add value to this process. I'm also looking at the witness list, and yes, it is long, but that witness list is reflective of the state that has been captured. It is reflective of people in every possible state organ that participated in selling drugs to our children. This hasn't started today or yesterday. It goes back many years, hence the long list. So it is important for us to recognize that as well. If anything, I think this list is still going to grow, because never in the history of our country have we had such harsh and real allegations made by anyone. This has been hidden and been hidden under a carpet for many years. So all the rot is going to surface now, and we must prepare ourselves for a very, very long list. So in terms of parking the list, no, let's not parking it. In terms of taking the first few witnesses for now, let us do that, but let us continue with the process of consultation and let's be progressive. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable James. Honorable members, what I hear from you, and I want to dissuade you to look at the names that are on the list, because naturally the names will never unite us, but the principle will always make us to move forward. I want us to be persuaded by what Honorable Mngwango has said, that let us note that we have a provisional list without saying that the list has been adopted or not. And these are the reasons that some of the names have been mentioned and some of the names have never been mentioned. And some of the names have been adequately motivated and some of the names have not been. So what we should do is to note this list and then allow General Mkhwanazi to come and make a presentation on the 7th and the 8th of October. The committee has said that it decides who it invites and who it does not invite. And when that presentation has been made, the terms of reference will be put on one side. The presentation of General Mkhwanazi will be put on the other. And then we will also have the list. And then we we then say, this is what we have set out to do, or what Parliament has mandated us to do. And this is what General Mkhwanazi has said. And the reason why I'm saying this, honorable members, is that now, I mean, at that time, he would have appeared before you. You would have had sufficient time to interact with him, to ask him any question that you will want to ask. And then when you have asked those questions and you feel that you are clarified, we will then go back to the list and say, he came here, he presented, we asked him questions, and now we feel that the manner in which the questions have been clarified, we are in a position to consult the list and then say, who do we then invite from this list? And Honorable James says, the list may be shortened from what we have, and it's a sentiment that other honorable members have also expressed. But equally, more names may be added, because I don't think that when the general appears before us, there is anybody who is going to be constrained in terms of how they may want to interact with him, for as long as their interaction is within the terms of reference. But I don't anticipate a situation where we will stop a member from interacting with General Mkhwanazi. Whether you interact with him, you exhaust your 30 minutes, or you interact with him for 15 minutes, we can only make a call at the end of the interaction to say, let's look at this interaction, whether it falls within the terms of reference, and if we are convinced that it is, then it stands. I think that is the approach that we should take. And I had the majority of honorable members in this meeting saying, let's note this list and allow General Mkhwanazi to come on the 7th and the 8th. Can I check if I made the right summary, honorable members?
Yes, Chair, that's agreed.
I agree, Honorable Chairperson.
Okay. I see two hands from two parties, the MKP and the EFF. Let me take the hand of Honorable Shongwe, and then followed by Honorable Mathais.
Thank you, Chair. My hand has been long up, Chair, but you were busy deliberating on something else. Chair, I had asked about Honorable Skosana to, when you were adding this, I apologize for taking you back. There's a name that I'd asked because I'm struggling with also in network where we are. We don't have electricity.
Yeah, we received those names, Honorable Shong. He submitted.
Yes, there's one that he was missing, Judge Justin Mlambo.
Okay. So
yes,
so you are proposing that the name of Justice Mlambo must be added.
Please, Chair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Honorable Mathais, you can lower your hand, Honorable Shong.
Chair, just to note the EFF objection on your conclusion, we are not outside of our terms of reference. The terms of reference under witnesses 5.4 and then 5.4.2 says the committee may invite any interested parties to provide input if they wish to do so. So the terms of reference does not say our witness list is going to be informed by our first witness. And our input was that the legal team or our evidence leaders can start consulting with this list, and they can come back and give us feedback whether these witnesses have evidence that is within our terms of reference, rather than us wait until the 7th and then we're going to have further delays. I don't think it's a progressive decision on how you have summarized the matter. So just note the EFF objection to it. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Honorable Matthys, the objection of the EFF is noted. It's an objection against the majority view in the meeting. It's not the view of the chairperson. The chairperson is summarizing what the majority of the participants have said in this meeting today. That objection is noted. Thank you. Honorable members, can we then move to the next item? On the matter which we discussed and agreed that we will finalize today, which involves members of this committee who would have been mentioned or will be mentioned either at the commission or the ad hoc committee proceedings. ANC.
Chair, thank you very much, Chair. I want in this case to be very particular, Chairperson, as opposed to being generic. And maybe let me preface my contribution on this matter by saying that if you listen to some of the voices in society, questions are being raised about the fact that Parliament was briefed about what was happening as early as March this year. And in the conclusion of those people, Parliament did not do anything until such time that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi decided to go public again 4 or 5 months later in July, in which he said what he said, and that then led to us as Parliament reacting differently. Why am I mentioning this point? I'm not mentioning this point in order to cast aspersions on the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Police. But I'm mentioning this point for all of us to understand that therefore in the eyes of those people in our society who hold the view that we did not do what we were supposed to do in March, as we begin our work, those within our population who hold that view are yet to be convinced by our own actions whether or not we are worth of anything in terms of being trusted by the people of South Africa. And I want to be correctly understood that I'm referring to those in our society who have come to the conclusion that by not doing anything as early as March when this matter was reported to us, Parliament was essentially committing what may be called a dereliction of duty. Assuming that people like that exist, as I believe they do, they will then say, you now have one of the members of Parliament who happens to be appointed or delegated by her own party to the Portfolio Committee, the Ad Hoc Committee, which must investigate the issues as reported in public by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, whose name has been fingered out by Mkhwanazi, whether on a serious or less serious way. But the fact of the matter is that the name of that honorable member has been fingered out. And I want to go back and say that group of South Africans who would have held the view that we were sleeping on duty will say, and then it explains why they were sleeping on duty, is because some among themselves are in one way or the other implicated until they clear themselves. What does that do to us and our legitimacy? and the moral authority that we should carry out as the representatives of our people in that National Assembly and Parliament in general. What does it do to us? What will those people expect of us, or expect of any of us who happen to be fingered out in a way that Honorable Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has been fingered out in the process? I would imagine that if I was among them, I would expect that part of what Parliament and its members are going to do in order to demonstrate their uprightness, they would say through that particular member, now that my name has been raised in a way that has been fingered out by Mkhwanazi, can I be given an opportunity to deal with that issue when Mkhwanazi has appeared before the Portfolio Committee, before I proceed with my responsibilities as a representative of the South African population? Because I want to carry and discharge that responsibility of being the representative of these people in a manner that will reassure the confidence of that population in its entirety, not with others casting doubt on my reputation, credibility, and legitimacy as I deal with the matters before the Ad Hoc Committee. I'm making this point, Chairperson, fully conscious of the fact that here we are talking about a colleague of ours who's not a directly elected member or a member of the Ad Hoc Committee, but an alternate. But I'm making this as well cognizant of the fact that on the day when Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi appeared before us, we cannot tell for sure with absolute certainty who among us will be present. It may very well be that I will not be there as a consequence of whatever reasons, and therefore the ANC's alternate will have to come on board. What if that happens with the Democratic Alliance? How do we deal with that situation practically when it unfolds on that day? Because there are things we can determine with absolutism and there are things we can't determine with certainty. One of those would be whether or not me, myself, I will be at the meeting on the 7th and the 8th of October, when the Lieutenant General appeared before us. If that were to happen to one of the DA's primary members of this committee and then the alternate comes in, how do we handle that? How do we understand the population, that segment of the population which would have made the conclusion I referred to? How are they going to receive us as that committee when that happens? And Chair, I'm concluding by saying we would like not to be misunderstood as the African National Congress, to be suggesting that therefore Honorable Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is guilty of anything. But we're in politics. I think all of us will agree on one thing, that perception is as important as the reality in politics. How do we manage this perception in such a way that it does not leave a bad taste to a certain segment of our population about who are these people and their legitimacy? They've done this thing in March, they did nothing. Look at what happened now. One of them pops up in this way. How should, as a committee, handle that? Because our credibility is important as a collective, not just one component of the committee. So that is where, Chair, the matter presents a fundamental problem for us as the African National Congress. We would have wished that the member concerned does what you were saying, which we believe was exemplar. That if it were you that, or if you were to be named as a consequence of which you become a potential witness, you would simply recuse yourself. Because you are concluding that even if I'm not guilty of anything, I'll clear my name. But that committee of parliament, its legitimacy and credibility, not just to political parties who are represented in it, to society in its entirety, is of fundamental importance. So it is in that context, Chairperson, that we're raising this issue, because we think that the committee must always appear to be morally upright, so that its work and its legitimacy, to avoid part of what the Honorable Julius Malema was saying earlier on, that we don't want this parliament to be seen as people who can't be trusted. I think it starts with us as a committee. people must say, there's nothing we've heard about this person. They are not going to be required to answer on anything, whether legitimate or otherwise. So we can depend on them as the trusted representatives of that parliament to discharge the responsibility before them. That's the contribution we wanted to make, Chairperson, and thanks.
Thank you so much, Chief Whip. May I check if from your party, do we still have a member who wants to take a bite? Okay, we are proceeding. May we take the MKP?
Thank you, Chair. I guess that the issue for me that because of Ornat Barnett now and the Chair perhaps in a way when he did not call for an inquiry, but it took time. It doesn't mean that he did not call for that, but it's misplaced here. I'll make a reference that in terms of Parliament, the sixth administration, if I remember well, Chief Justice Ngobo and his team made a recommendation which members of Parliament, some of them, you know what exactly happened. It was thrown out of the window. So the issue of that, the members of the society will think of high standard of Parliament. I've got a different view on that. Because if that was the case, that issue which the former Chief Justice Ngobo, the recommendation and the prima facie evidence against our president at that time was taken to the same Parliament. Therefore, I don't think it holds water to say, therefore, all members of whatever committee in Parliament, when the chair or when those members delayed or for whatever reasons, therefore, people who cast aspersions, already this Parliament integrity is at stake. There were a lot of things which happened in Parliament, circus in Parliament, in the fifth administration, in the sixth administration. But I've never heard of this. That therefore, it means the integrity of Parliament is at stake. It was worse. It was worse. When members of Parliament thrown away, they voted against the Chief Justice Ngobo's report. They spit on the faces of South Africans. So I don't think that we should degenerate into that, because we can argue on that. But I'm saying that the issue of Ornat Barnett and Faisal Adams should be treated as such. We should not paint everyone with one paint here, because of other reasons. But I want to be categorically stated very clear again, that when it comes to the issue of integrity of Parliament, I can tell you now, you'll have different opinion from different people. Now we are given an opportunity to deal with the issue which General Mkhwanazi has raised. There's various issues which he told this nation. The judicial capture, the issues within the police, beside the political killings. He mentioned a lot of things. But it would be unfair to paint everyone with one brush. It's like when one argues, some members in the community are saying, but you have members here who does not belong to both committees. They don't belong to Justice Committee. They don't belong to a police portfolio committee. But they are here. We dealt with a lot of matters. We had meetings and meetings. But for me, I don't think it's right for us to debate that now. The issue at hand, we must deal with this matter. If Konrad Pana doesn't want to recuse himself and the chair allows that, or us as members, we allow her to sit there. The issue was raised by one member that if somebody goes to court, we might find ourselves wanting. I think that's what is important here. These other issues, for me, let me say it categorically clear. For me, it's a side. Hello?
Yes.
I'm still on. Yes. What I was saying, Chair. Yeah, what I was saying, Chair. Let's focus on the matter at hand. That there's a judicial capture, there's all these things. This meeting now is going to happen. Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is going to appear before us without being subpoenaed. And that's what is important. The issue of days, I agree with Honorable Malema on that one, that we should not be lazy and say no, because there's 30 people or whatever, therefore the committee won't be able to do its work. But as I said in one meeting, that I hope at the end of the day, this is not going to end up like what former Chief Justice has done, given a report, and that report was thrown out of the window by virtue of voting. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Jali. May I check if we have a second speaker from the MKP?
Yes, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Please. Chair, I think, Chair, I'm a bit puzzled when it comes to why are we throwing in time-wasting issues and wasting Skatsabantu Betu, but South Africa for no reason. Chair, it's a straightforward matter, Chair. We, as members of that portfolio committee of police, we are not implicated. We are not mentioned by Mkhwanazi. Babu Mkhwanazi mentions the two members that they are involved, directly involved with this thing. Number two, Chair, I think I appreciate Chief Whip of the GNU when he says that his view is that Parliament has failed to tackle the matter, as South Africans feel the very same way. Chair, this is where South Africans should see and learn. We, as a portfolio committee, we take matters and deliberate them in the committee. After that, it goes to the chairperson to take it exactly where it should go. Now, it is not Umkhonto Wesizwe members that are in the committee, in the portfolio committee of police that failed. It is the governance of GNU that failed to take steps on this matter, Chair, going forward from where we took it and place it where. Chair, we are not allowed to go and hang about chairperson to say, chairperson, you must do this or we will hang you. We are not allowed to do that, but we are allowed to follow protocol, which is delayed by the chairperson, who happens to be the GNU. So the chief whip of the GNU is correct by saying they failed. But please, they must not paint every member of that portfolio committee, including the parties, with the same brush. So siyacela Chair ukuthi asibukisiseni lento le, because Chair, this matter kaBaba Mkhwanazi, General Mkhwanazi, is not the only matter efakwe lapha yalinda. Ziningi izinto ezilindiwe. For example, Chair, indaba yamanzi, sikhuluma ngayo all the time in Parliament. Abanamanzi eJohannesburg, Chair. It doesn't mean because portfolio committee of water and sanitation, chairperson act on time, it means all parties are failing. No, Chair. And the Chair, this thing, I mean, Chair, I'm sorry to say it like this. We started to be saying Mkhwanazi must be subpoenaed when there was no necessity. Again, we want to defend the DA, nomuntu wayo, or implicated. For what reason? Chair, it's straightforward. This person is implicated. They have members who can come and replace Atubek. We can't be painted for failure or delay. We don't know unit delay when they sit in their portfolios, in their chairs of chairs as GNUs. But they are really delaying abantu. I like the fact that Chief Whip of GNU has really said it the way Bona, they are failing abantu by delaying it. It should be the chair and them about this matters is fagayo as opposition. Benzani ngazo. These matters is fagayo as members of the committee. Benzani ngazo. Because we keep on repeating. So you can go check our videos where Portfolio Committee of Police. This matter ikulunyanga kanye where Ubaba Mkhwanazi ekhulumile. General Mkhwanazi ekhulumile, but we kept on talking about it after that, Chair. So please, Chair, let's put it as it is. Chair, it's straightforward. Sesingabenza ugebengu nobutsotsi nopantsu lesibenza sifuna ukubenza straightforward le Chair. Ukhola Banati noBabu Adams, they are implicated. We are not. Let's not waste time sikhathi abantu Chair. We must start esosebenza lento. Lesikhathi sokuthi sisiwaste Chair asafuneki manje. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable Shongwe. May I please move to the DA?
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I think we've already deliberated on the majority of our view, and we stick by that. It's quite simple that no one needs to recuse themselves until there's actual evidence presented on a conflict being created. And I must emphasize that a lot of what has been said regarding certain people wasn't even close to an allegation. It touched more on conjecture. So it's not even at the point of allegation yet. Chair, I would also then like to say that we can't just simply, in my opinion, tell people to recuse themselves based on news reports. You know, I read a report from News 24 this morning by Jan Gerber where he quotes General Van Rooyen yesterday saying the Police Portfolio Committee did nothing. And the Police Portfolio wasn't even asked for simple comment, to say the least. Then we could have laid out what happened on the day. Furthermore, Chair, I also want to say that just shows that a news report cannot and should not form the basis for recusal. Well, let's say the majority of news reports shouldn't push in that direction. Chair, and then, you know, if we're going to play this game about creating doubt around certain members, and I said it last week, then, you know, we need to ask, is the ANC going to say something about the Honourable Sangoni? I mentioned it last week that, I mean, people have been casting aspersions, whether it's on me, Honourable Kola Barnard and others, but we'll be able to delve very, very deep into different aspects. And I think then we need to ask what is that party's position on the said individual. So I think we need to tread very carefully, Chair. I would also like to suggest that, seeing as we have, you know, as Parliament started paying quite a bit of money in terms of legal capacity, why don't we ask for a legal opinion on the members that have been mentioned and on the position of the members in the police committee, as well as that this committee for that matter, instead of just relying on the opinions of people that aren't necessarily qualified to really make such a decision in depth. I also want to say, Chair, that in terms of us as a committee, we need to make sure that we do our homework correctly. I listened to the opinions of 5 March, and it's very, very clear to me that the large majority of opinionated persons about 5 March have not read the minutes, nor have they actually watched the video of 5 March, or for that matter, 2 April, which would likely inform them quite a bit better. Chair, so that's it for now. I just think we should be very careful of a holier-than-thou approach and mustn't confuse conjecture and evidence. Thank you, Chair.
Cameron is the second speaker from your party.
We can move along.
Thank you so much. May we please get the input of the economic freedom fighters?
Thank you, Chairperson. I listened carefully to the Chief Whip of the ANC, and in trying to philosophize his input, he runs away from pointing at the rule or the terms of reference that deals with recusal. If you have not dealt with recusal in the terms of reference, and there is no specific rule that is being referred to of Parliament that deals with recusal, we are not in any position to use our majority or our feelings when it comes to recusal. That decision lies with the member consent, like you summarized in the previous meeting, that if you were mentioned, you were not going to proceed to chair us. But there's no rule. Which law are you referring to in dealing with dispute? Because there must be a rule that deals with conflict and says this is where the conflict is. And on the basis of that, we are of a view that the member must recuse herself. I said to you, you are not in any position to remove or expel any member from this committee. You are not. These people were properly sent to come and sit in this committee by Parliament of the Republic of South Africa. And you don't choose who sits in this committee, who doesn't sit in this committee. This has been resolved by Parliament. You cannot constitute yourself. You are constituted by Parliament. And therefore it is incorrect. I don't care who you're referring to. I don't care which political party they refer to. I stand for justice. And justice will require us that we raise the concerns we have raised and leave it in the hands of the member concerned. You will share this experience, Chair, together with Advocate Bredenbach, that in the JSC, we tell members that if there is a conflicting interest in relation to a judge that is about to appear before us, you have to take that decision to recuse yourself. Or if you don't want to recuse yourself and you seek the collective wisdom of the members of the JSC, you will then say, I know Advocate Bredenbach, and this is how I know her. And we've been together this way, that way. Members are like, no, let's proceed. There's no problem. We believe and the interviews. But otherwise, if you feel personally, so please, Chair, there's no South African that says we must deal with members in an unfairly manner in an attempt to save the failures of the previous regime that has gone below 40%. It's not our responsibility to cleanse you up. It was your mess. You messed it up. And you're not going to do it now with us. That you isolate the people that you think are not going to serve whatever interest you might be representing. So from where I'm sitting, there is no any conflict. The name is on the list. Let the name, like all the names, be referred to our legal team. Let the consultation be made. Perhaps in that consultation, the legal team might even say to our member, but look, don't you think maybe this or that way And then the next thing we hear from a member saying, no, you know what? Upon reflection and consultations, I now accept that I must step aside. And then you proceed with this thing. I'll come if I'm invited to do so. But this thing of passing a motion of no confidence against the evidence leaders that we have appointed. And before we appointed them, we even said, evidence leaders will not tell us anything. They will not control us. They will come and give us a legal opinion. We will decide on our own if we take that legal opinion or not. So they are here now. Let the names be referred to the legal team. Let it make consultations. Let it come back to us as we proceed and say, yes, we can hear maybe the following day, let's not have this witness. Let's have a committee meeting to make reflection on further witnesses and all of that. Then they will say to us, the following names are helpful, the following names are not helpful. And we are of a view that the honorable member also, by this kind of legal, general rules or practices, we think the member should recuse herself. And it is for her to make that call. So please, let's have confidence in you can't say we've got this list provisional and as we go along consultations will be made and all of that, and then a certain person must be removed. We said let that responsibility lie with the evidence leaders who will advise us on whether this person is going to help us or not. And if Honorable Bernard, who's mentioned, is not going to be helpful because she's conflicted or anything of that sort, they will point to that and make a proper legal argument as to why they are saying what they are saying. Not this thing that we're doing now, because we want to constitute ourselves. We can't constitute ourselves, and we have no right to expel any member from this committee. If anything, let Parliament revisit whatever resolution is taken on in terms of who constitute this committee. Thanks. I'm not talking for any member. I'm talking for all of you. It's nice now that you say the things you are saying. Wait until the tables turn and you are told you are conflicted and you can't even see that conflict. Your conscience is very clear that you are not part of this and you have never been involved in any illegality. So let principle be principle. It doesn't matter which political party a person belongs to. It doesn't matter the race of a person. It doesn't matter the gender of a person. Justice must always be justice. And if we stand for justice, we will know how to deal with conflict of interest. Thanks, Chair.
So much, Honorable Malema. Can I check Honorable Lee Matthews? Do you want to have a bite?
I'm covered. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. The IFP.
Well, thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Without taking a lot of your time, I think we do have at our disposal right now legal advisors. I think Honorable Malema is raising a point when he says that in our terms of reference, no mention is actually made of how we resolve issues of this nature, nor does it actually reflected in the other rules of Parliament. Now, we are constituted by Parliament. Do we actually have the powers as this committee to add or subtract any member of this committee? And if that is not clear to us, then why can't we consult the legal advice that we have at our disposal so that we actually we make an informed legal decision on these matters? I thank you.
The PA.
My Honorable Chair, I think it's very important that we dispel some of the statements that are made such as, for example, to say that, you know, the GNU is to be blamed and the GNU is favoring and so on. On the point of discussion here now, it's clear this is not about the GNU. We are all here to put South Africans at the center and to get to the bottom of this, all of us, irrespective of our party affiliation or GNU opposition. If we have to delve deep into that narrative, that incorrect narrative that is being pushed, that the GNU is for the GNU here, there's no GNU here. Because if you would look at it properly, it is the GNU partners that are the ones who are saying Honorable Barnard is conflicted, and for that reason should recuse herself. It is the GNU partners that are saying that. It is actually the opposition that is saying no, she should not recuse herself. So I firstly just want to dispel that wrong narrative that this committee is not about GNU or opposition. All of us are together as parties that forms the Ad Hoc Committee that seeks to deal with this matter for the sake of all South Africans. Secondly, Chair, you know, I would have for the standard that has been set by my president and my deputy president, that when there was just a mention of the name of my deputy president, Kenny Kunene, he recused himself as a matter of principle from his position as councillor and his position as MMC. An independent investigation was done and he was cleared. Whether people questions that, it's neither here nor there, they can pursue it further. But the fact is, a position was taken on principle to preserve the integrity of leadership. That's the action that shall be taken. And it is clear that that is what we are yearning for here. But whether it will happen is really up to the members. Then on the issue of recusal and the element of recusal not being mentioned in writing in our terms of reference, it is a bit disingenuous to think that our terms of reference would be exhaustive in the issues that we would be dealing with. I would want to look at our terms of reference like we look at our constitution. Our constitution is not in and of itself obsolete. It is a living document. So as things arises, we then adjust to the things we are then exposed to. So if there's nothing written verbatim that deals with the matter within the Constitution, you then look at case law, you look at other resources, and that's the same approach we should use here. So to say that just simply on the basis that there's no specific mention of how we deal with recusal within our terms of reference, for that reason we should not use the approach and at least have robust engagement around the conflict of interest. I mean, when we deal with the issue of Honorable Ian Cameron, who is chairing the committee, it is not a personal matter. It is because of our terms of reference that says any allegation made by General Mkhwanazi, we as the committee will investigate all the allegations that General Mkhwanazi has made to test the veracity and the extent and the implications of such allegations. That's all we are calling for, to say we are not saying Honorable Ian Cameron or Honorable Barnard is guilty. We are saying that if you are saying that you must call Honorable Fadil Adams, why? He was mentioned under oath. That's why we are calling Honorable Fadil. So also, Honorable Barnard was mentioned. So therefore, she must be called. So also, Honorable Ian Cameron is the chairperson. You can't call the whole committee. The one who's leading, who's taking accountability for the committee, to say these very things before us now, that we are dealing with now, these allegations, has been put before the Committee of Police. And as chairperson, we are sitting here now having to deal with it because what has the committee done? It is for this reason that we are saying we are merely just going to do what the committee's objective says, is to investigate all allegations. And it's for that reason that we are making that call. Lastly, I wonder how it would be practically possible then. It is the EFF that has put forward the name of Honorable Ian Cameron, for example. If now we agree that Honorable Ian, we agree with the EFF to say, which of course I've already stated, I do agree with them, that we must call Honorable Ian Cameron as a witness to answer. If we decide on that now, would that not mean that there's now a conflict of interest? He cannot be the referee and the judge. He cannot be the player and the referee. So there's a conflict there. That's if we agree on that. So it's not about laziness, it's about process. So even though I would really want to see the standard that my president and my deputy president has set here as a matter of principle, even though I genuinely would like to see that. I mean, Honorable Cameron just couldn't help himself by addressing already his debate around why Advocate Tefo must not come. And then cast aspersions to say that there was something that he did during the week. We don't know that. That's not something we talk about here. It raises questions. The other side has not been heard why Advocate Tefo was put forward. So even though I would like to see that Honorable Ian comes, Honorable Barnard comes and recuse themselves, even though I would want that. But because I respect process, Honorable Chair, of the terms of reference that we all agreed upon in Section 4 that deals with our scope, it is very clear. We have agreed that the testimony, it is clear, it says directly, the testimony of General Mkhwanazi and the submissions that is made shall inform the witnesses that we call. It is there, we've agreed on it. And even though I would like it to be different, and I would like Honorable Ian and Honorable Barnard to come before us, I can't, because I've agreed on the terms of reference, and therefore I accept we will first call General Mkhwanazi, and then we can then debate and talk about Honorable Ian, Honorable Barnard, and others. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Honorable James, 1 minute.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think we need to shake the notion of being a witness translates to being tainted negatively or guilty for having contributed to the collapse of South Africa's rule of law. I say this with great sensitivity and caution, right? If anything, by now, the DA should have fielded another candidate, and this in the interest of public trust. If anything, Honorable Barnard should gracefully take this opportunity, an opportunity towards setting the record straight. If I'm someone sitting on the outside, we said earlier on, and Honorable Sauls covered me when he highlighted and reflected on 5.1 of the terms of reference, the format of inquiry, where we are meant to probe and investigate these allegations. Honorable Barnard was not mentioned, as Honorable Ian mentioned earlier on, said that, we cannot go after news reports. It wasn't in a news report. She was actually mentioned by General Mkhwanazi. It doesn't make her guilty. All we are saying is, at this point, you cannot be the striker and the goalkeeper. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Thank you, honorable members, for your deliberations. Very energetic debate.
Chair?
Honorable Skosana.
Thank you, Chair. Just before you close, for a record's sake, because as I said earlier, I've raised the name of Conrad Barnard when we're doing the list. I want just to say in closing, in half a second, do you allow me to do that?
I must not set a wrong precedence, because if I have to remind you, we gave you a chance to speak, and even after you have spoken, I asked if we have a second speaker from your party, and Honorable Shongwe made himself available. You can imagine now if we have done the rotation and all parties or all members in this meeting want to do like this. Okay, it's fine. Let me check.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
No, it's fine. Let me check from all the parties if there are people who are raising hands. I see your hand. I see the hand of the Chief Whip. Is there a hand from the DA?
No, Chair.
Okay, is there a hand from the EFF?
On standby, Chair. Depending on what they are going to say, we'll have a right to respond to them.
That is accepted. Is there a hand from the IFP?
No, Chair.
Okay, is there a hand from the PA?
No hand, Chair.
Okay. I will decide if I give you a chance to speak, Honorable. I'm doing this, Honorable Member, so that we need to make it an established practice that when a party is given a chance to speak, and for sure you might have noticed that sometimes I even say to you, I'm giving you 5 minutes breather, so that you can gather your thoughts and organize yourselves. Because we want to avoid a situation where, when we must summarize, one party should come and speak and the other parties leave the meeting aggrieved that some parties or some members in this meeting are allowed to speak at any time. So we, for now, we have recognized those 3 hands. The Honorable Skosana, Honorable Nduli, and Honorable Malema in case. Thank you. Can we take the names in that order?
I just want to say that we must take into cognizance that the issue of why I've raised Honorable Barnard and Honorable Adams. One, the conflict of Barnard was mentioned in the context of the smear campaign against Mkhwanazi and the bad publicity of Crime Intelligence Unit. Without casting aspersion, she was a shadow minister of state security of the DA. She was privileged to have that information. Hence, Mkhwanazi complained about our honorable member Pavana on the 5th of March. I just wanted to reiterate that. And remember, Chair, that Parliament has agreed on the names in good faith. No probity was done. I thank you, Chair.
Chief Whip.
No, thanks, Chair. My apology for I really have no intention, Chairperson, to challenge and rebut the comments that were made by my colleagues on this question. I understand very well that when you must summarize, you must summarize. But there is a new issue that is arising for the second time. And I think that I have an obligation as a Chief Whip of the ANC to say something about it. The Honorable Ian Cameron keep on insisting that saying something that has to do with Honorable Kusela Sango and making reference that I think are not sitting very well with us. I just want to make this point very clear on behalf of the African National Congress. Even if this committee decides that anyone who's implicated in one way or the other will remain in this committee, that will be a decision of this committee. But from the African National Congress, if any of us in the course of this work is cited as a potential witness that must appear before this ad hoc committee to say something, that person would be recused from the ad hoc committee and only return back once his or her name has been cleared. So I want to be clear about that so that there is no reluctance on the part of anyone here and outside this meeting who may want to drag any of our names into this thing to think that we are here and determined to die in this committee even if our names are raised. That's the issue I wanted to raise. Otherwise, I'm not going to rebut what other honorable members have said. It's their own right to say that. But at least on behalf of the ANC, I have the authority to say this because it's coming back for the second time. And I think it's important that the ANC must be known on record. This is the position we hold on this matter. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Chief Whip. Honorable Malema, do you still want to speak?
Chair, I think our point is made.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, honorable members. We have come to the end of the debate on this last item. And look, I have made my observations. You were very energetic in the manner that the item was deliberated upon. And to some extent, emotions were brought into the debate. And thirdly, I have also observed that you are very, very vigorous with your political predispositions. And it sometimes takes us long when we debate an issue. We brought a lot of politics in it. I understand we are politicians and we are representing the public. They want to hear us advancing our ideological disposition. Let me start with the matter that the Chief Whip has raised here. And without addressing Honorable Cameron, let us say that if there is something that is wrong, we know that this thing is wrong. Does not make it a standard to use another example to justify what is wrong, because that can never be a standard in the society that we lead. We know that Soviet is wrong. We must accept that he is wrong. We mustn't say, no, he can't be wrong. What are we saying about Mutubisen? the example that we give may not help us to justify the wrong. I want us to spend our time counting the rights that we do and the rights that happen in the society in which we live. And I think that the mentioning of Honorable Sangoni was way out of line. I haven't heard her name be mentioned at the commission by any of the witnesses so far who have appeared before the commission, or any other member of our committee who raised a hand here and say, I have the name of Honorable Sangoni. As the chair, I want to apologize on her behalf that in a meeting that I chair or I preside over, her name had to be brought like that. It's unfortunate, and I think you are right, Chief Whip, and that is basically why I say, in my observation, sometimes we bring emotions in our discussions, and they can blur the lines. And coming to the matter which was being debated, I want to persuade you, honorable members, to say, let's be consistent. And this is a word that has been used by the majority of you when decisions are taken. Hands will be raised, no chairperson, who are calling for consistency. We have just taken a decision now and said, there is a list that has been gathered by ourselves here, and we are noting it because we want General Mkhwanazi to appear before us. And once he has appeared, we would have satisfied ourselves with our interaction with him. And then we will decide from that list who we invite and who don't invite, or who we add. The name of Honorable Kola Barnard was mentioned by General Mkhwanazi, who is going to appear before us here. It is at that stage where members, if they have any issue about Honorable Barnard, which they want to clarify, whether the issue is on the sworn statement that General Mkhwanazi would have deposited with us, or whether members say, not here, but at the commission, we heard you saying this and that. We want you to clarify this statement. What form of evidence do you have which will prove your statements? And then when that information has been provided before this committee, the committee will then say to the legal team, go and check within the rules. How do we deal with a matter like this one if we have to seek advice from somewhere, or have to refer the matter to the office of the Speaker or Parliament or the Ethics Committee or elsewhere? It is at that stage when we have that evidence, when any question that has to be asked to General Mkhwanazi about Honorable Barnard has been asked. I think that will be at that stage where all of us will agree that we are in a better position to process the matter. Because the likelihood, and it's what I have said here, that, if we sit in a meeting and start to talk about names before the principal, the names are not going to unite us in any way. But if we lay out our principles first and put them here and say, these are the principles on which we are going to work, and then from there, we can come and talk after we have walked these principles is going to help us. So, honorable members, let's wait until General Mkhwanazi has appeared before us. And I have heard other honorable members saying it. I mean, yes, unfortunately, in law, we don't legislate morality. Where, under these circumstances, it would have been nice to hear from Honorable Barnard herself, but we cannot subject her to a discussion like this one. But if he was to write to us and say, there are the following matters before the commission about me, and I feel that I want to allow the committee to do its work until my name is cleared, I will come and join you at that stage. We will still accept. But if he feels that she has a constitutional right to be here until it is proven, I mean, it's an established principle in South African law that any person has a right to be presumed innocent. And that is why even when you see the symbolic representation of law or justice is the pendulum. Once the pendulum swings higher on one side and lower on the other, it means there is no equality, there is no justice. So ourselves, we must not be seen swinging the pendulum. Let's allow the pendulum to swing by itself. And when it has swung, we will then come back and all of us will be agreeing that the pendulum has swung. We are now at a point where we all agree that justice is this one and this one is injustice. And I have listened to the debate of honorable members here. It's a matter we can debate until the sun rises. But I want to persuade you, honorable members, to say, let's wait for that day. Those that may have questions, those that may want to probe for evidence. And we must not even come to that day or to those proceedings coming for Honorable Barnard. It's not Honorable Barnard's day or the 2 days or whatever number of days we allocate or we extend. We must not make them the days of Honorable Barnard. Those are the days the Ad Hoc Committee has decided it will come and interact with General Mkhwanazi. And if there is any matter that we feel we need to be clarified on, let's use the opportunity to clarify those matters. I want to thank you so much, and I believe that this summary makes sense, unless if there is any dissenting view.
No, me, I just forgot what is going to sing. The one that I forgot is the pendulum.
The pendulum.
No, it's fine. We can wait for the pendulum.
Thank you so much, Honorable Sols.
Thank you. I just wanted clarity on the issue of alternates. I note that for some parties, both the full member and the alternate member, I think it's MKP and EFF. I might be incorrect. I don't know how many members MKP has, how many full members, but I know EFF is one full member, one alternate, and I think MKP the same. I'm not sure, but if that's the case, Chair, you give both alternate and full member opportunity to participate. But when it comes to the smaller parties, our alternates are not granted the same opportunity. I just want clarity on that, please, because the other members are speaking interchangeably during the meeting.
No, I think you are right, Honorable Sols. There are two ways to see it, because there are alternates of parties that are full committee members, and you have alternates who are non-committee members. So when a party has seats, the minority parties that you refer to do not have seats, and they are not alternates from your party. They are alternates from other parties which do not have seats in the ad hoc committee. But if there is any wrong that we would have done, we can still seek legal advice and clarify it with you. It's not a point that that we will slip away if you strongly feel about it.
No, I feel strongly, Chair. Please.
But my understanding
Please,
was
Chair.
that my understanding is that these parties have seats in the ad hoc committee.
Yeah, please seek advice, that I feel very strongly about it, because my understanding is that we, as the smaller parties, now form one group, which is now the representation.
I want us to do like this, Honorable Sols. First, I note your hand, and I note the hand of Honorable James. Let me do like this. Let me first check. I was checking if there was a dissenting view on the summary that I made on the last item, and then I will rotate your point to the parties to hear what the view of the parties is.
All right, Chair.
Yes. So I'm going to request all of you to lower your hands. If we can lower the hand, Honorable Sols. Honorable member, so Honorable Sols, you want to disagree with the summary that I made?
No, I fully agree with the pendulum sinking.
Okay. I don't see any member or any party raising a hand on the summary, so I'm going to take it that the summary has been accepted. Honorable Skosana.
Yeah, no, Chair, you said we must lower our hand. I just wanted to say I don't agree with your summary, because I just want you to note the objection of Umkhonto Wesizwe party on that matter. I'm not agreeing. We are not agreeing with you on that one, on that summary. Okay. And hence as well, the parliamentary, our parliamentary legal department has failed us, because I think we're on that term of reference. If we had this recusal issue being raised to say, what if somebody raised an issue and we found ourselves wanting, that could have been avoided. It could have been in the terms of reference. But be that as it may, on this one, I am saying in behalf of Umkhonto Wesizwe party, please note our objection on that point. I thank you, Chair.
Yeah, look. The point that I must clarify is that the terms of reference is not the primary document in Parliament. It has rules, and I don't want us to apportion the blame on the terms of reference or on the legal team of Parliament, because this matter, if it is established that there is a conflict of interest, it must be dealt with in terms of the rules of Parliament. That is how it must be dealt. I mean, Parliament has the ethics committee. Parliament has this and that. So if it emerges or there is sufficient evidence provided, and the committee consults, and it may not even be asked to consult the terms of reference or so. Parliament itself has a duty to discuss the conduct of its member within the mechanisms that are in place and make that decision. I mean, there is one honorable member, I think it was Honorable Malema, who said, we can't come here and debate the qualifications of each one of us to sit in this meeting. We can just make a finding to say, look, you have sent us to go and do work. This is the report that we want to give to you as Parliament. Then you can make a decision on what must happen. I think let's close it that way, so that we.
Yeah, correct, Chair. As I said earlier, just please note that, and the submission which was made by General Mkhwanazi should not be discounted. Should not be completely discounted. Note our issue. Thank you.
If you listen to the summary of the chairperson, the summary does not say that the matter goes away. The summary says General Mkhwanazi is going to appear before you, and you will satisfy yourself. And when you are satisfied, you can come back to the committee and say, now that we have evidence or we don't have this evidence, let's write to the speaker and say, this is what we have or this is what we don't have. And then from there, the speaker's office will determine how the matter should be taken forward. If at that stage, nothing would have happened, or there would be no need for anything to happen. So let's be persuaded, honorable members, and accept it as such. And then we are now going to, I now want to hear you, because Honorable Sols has raised a matter here, whether you want to debate it or you want to refer it for advice. Honorable Sol says there is Honorable Sokhanyile, who is an alternative from the African National Congress, an alternate. And there is Honorable Shongwe, who is an alternate from the MKP. There is Honorable Barnett, who is an alternate from the DA. And Honorable Lee Matthews, who is an alternate from the EFF. And he says, Chair, I have observed you. When you check with the parties whether there is a second speaker, these alternates are speaking. Is that correct on your part, Chairperson? What is your understanding? And so now I'm rotating this matter for you as members and political parties represented here in this ad hoc committee to speak on it and make a decision whether you want to refer it for advice or whether you have an understanding on how the rotation must be taken in the meeting. The ANC. Okay, let me give you just a minute or two to gather your thoughts. It's now 17:43. We will start at 5:45.
Is the meeting done, Chair, or is news cut out?
You might have
cut yourself out, Honorable.
You might have been cut out if you haven't heard what we said.
Is the meeting done?
No, the meeting is not done, Chief Whip. What we want you to comment on the issue that Honorable Sols has raised. Maybe it must not be me presenting it. It must be me allowing him to present it so that all of you hear it. And once he has presented it, let's allow him to present it. And I think Honorable James also wanted to make an addition. Let's allow them to present it and hear what the views of the meeting are. Honorable Sauls and Honorable James.
Thank you, Chair. Although I think you did justice to my question. As the smaller parties, we form a block. As such, we've been given an allocation of 2 full members, 2 alternates. So we are then representative of all the smaller parties. So IFP and ourselves, we are full members. Just like all the other parties as alternates, Honorable James, Honorable Vessels are alternates for us. In my view, the alternates on our side is the same as the alternates for all the other parties. I'm not following the response or the answer that you've given in terms of the difference between the seats the parties hold in comparison to us. I'm not following that, and that is not in agreement with that assessment. So my question is, throughout the meeting, you give, Chair, the other alternates equal opportunity to speak, whilst the full member is present, not in the absence of the full member. But when it comes to us, our alternates are not allowed the same participation. So I'm asking, is that correct? If so, why? I believe it's not correct.
Well said, Honorable Sauls, and I want to thank you for the courage, but even for the polite manner in which you are raising this issue. Honorable James.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I reflect back on the last couple of meetings, and I recall in the first meeting when I entered the doors of the Ad Hoc Committee, it was with the knowledge that I won't enjoy Action SA full voting rights as per the NA rules, and that's always been a standing principle. On the 5th of August, week 1, that was the day when you said to me, you are a member, you said this, Chair, you are a member, Honorable James, like any other member, right? At our meeting before today's meeting, this was last week, when you said that alternate members are not members and will only participate on the discretion. I wrote it down and I took that recording. And will only participate on the discretion of the chair, or if the party they are alternate to is absent. That's what you said. Also, on the 20th, we also know that there was the protocols that were signed off by the speaker saying that alternate members won't enjoy access to classified information and all of that. Now, last week when you said alternate members will only be allowed to participate based on the participation of the chair. This week, again, Chair, it's changed now to alternate members can participate if the party which they represent has a member seat on the Ad Hoc Committee. I too now want to ask, because I've been watching last week, and remember you came to me last week and you said to me, do you want to add anything? And I said no, because I needed to research this. I needed to go back to all the previous meetings and quote what you have said to basically prove in this meeting that there's been inconsistency. And the fact that now at the end of the meeting, Chair, with all due respect, we are now taking to the floor to get the views of everyone, tells me that you have been conducting this meeting haphazardly with not actually knowing are we allowed to speak or not. I also think that from the onset, as an alternate member, we were permitted to give input and make submissions to the rule, to the terms of reference. Why was that then allowed if 2 weeks later, we are now being told, okay, only on the discretion of the chair, and then I get told you'll only be given a minute to speak. When in the very first meeting, Chairperson, you actually, in your closing remarks, you said you are a member and you will be allowed to participate fully in this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before I rotate to the parties, you know, honorable members, from the first day when we met, I have said to you that this is our committee. It's not a committee of the chairperson. The actions of the chairperson in this meeting are not absolute. And that is why some of the meetings that honorable members do not quote are meetings where honorable members and say, Chairperson, can we please be consistent here? Because this is our meeting, all of us. You know, if we come to a meeting of the Ad Hoc Committee and one member participates in the meeting today, and then the following day the member does not participate, the member can come and point fingers at the chair to say, why did I participate yesterday and today I'm not participating? That's why if you listen to what I'm saying, I say to Honorable Souls, I want to thank you for the courage and the politeness in which you raised the matter, because somebody would have raised it in a very aggressive way. It's a very sensitive matter. And that is why when I responded, I said, this is what could have been my understanding. But if Honorable Souls would feel strongly about it and that we may have to need a legal advice, we can do so, because it is not that when I say it is my understanding, it means this is a decision of the meeting. My understanding may be wrong, and that I accept that I could have been wrong in terms of interpretation or understanding. So this is our meeting, but I mean, to conclude that the chair has been running a meeting in a haphazard way, I don't think that it's a fair statement to make on another person. We will never on any day have a human being who is complete. And that is why sometimes even the best strikers miss penalties. The best defenders commit fouls in the 18 areas. That is all about life. Every time we keep on improving, where there is a mistake, the mistake must never lead to crucifixion. We must say, we have identified this mistake, how do we correct it, and how can we improve? How do we move forward? We don't have a complete human being. We will never have on any day a complete member of parliament. It's not possible. Law is science, policy is science, and every time we implement the law, we learn. And you may find that some of the mistakes could have been corrected from the onset. That is why those who have done law and policy, they will tell you that policy is implemented when it is being made, but it is also made when it is being implemented. So, but anyway, let me rotate amongst you, honorable members, and hear what your views are. If you have an understanding on this matter, how best we can resolve it. It's our issue, all of us. It's not an issue of the chairperson. The chairperson does not participate in this meeting. The chairperson directs the meeting. And it is you from all parties who have been participating in this meeting, yourselves and your alternates. So help me as the chairperson. If we seek advice, just say, Chairperson, let's go and get advice on how we must deal with this matter and not make it a matter of the chairperson. Thank you so much. The African National Congress.
Chair, we want to, firstly, let me just indicate how this matter has arisen, because I think we've discussed it on two previous occasions. And it arose in two different contexts. In one context, it was because we were looking ahead in terms of what is going to happen when witnesses are appearing before us. Will we be allocating the same amount of time to full members and alternate? That was the first instance where the matter arose. The second one was when, it might have been on the same day, maybe I'm confusing, but the second aspect of it was when we're dealing with who exactly is the alternate of the other parties. Because you remember that I think we were made aware that the actual alternate of the other parties is the representative of the Freedom Front Plus, Honorable Vessels. And we had to discuss that issue at that time because we were saying from the NC's point of view, how far do we go in terms of alternate? If Honorable James is the alternate of the alternate, as we're made to understand at that time. Now, let me conclude by saying, I think the mistake that was committed in this meeting, Chair, and I agree with you that no human being is perfect, is that you may have not noticed at the beginning of the meeting that Honorable Vessels was in the meeting, and you never recognized him to speak, or either at the time when you were recognizing Honorable James to speak, he had left the meeting, but at the beginning he was there. I think that there was a mistake there, because if he is the alternate, he should have been the one that you also give priority to. But what I want to propose we do, Chair, can we allow you and the legal team and your management committee just to sit back and look at where do we come from with this discussion? What are the rules saying? What will be in the best interest of this committee in order to manage its affairs in such a way that is not going to open us up for problems going forward, especially and particularly because we're now about to start to hear the first witness. My proposal is that let's allow you to go back. Let's not be exhaustive about it today. Allow you to go back with your team and the legal people who will help you. And then you come back with a proposal on how you suggest we should handle this thing as we deal with the hearing of the witnesses. And then we can discuss from a particular proposal as opposed to each one of us throwing ideas that may render this meeting taking another 2 hours unnecessarily, and which is avoidable. Thanks.
Chief Whip, thank you so much. May we please take the MKP?
Thank you, Chair. I think on this matter, rules, we have rules on that. And I think, Honorable Stolz, perhaps when they alternate, like today, from Umkhonto party, because Nomvalo was not available, who's a full member, our alternate, it's Tulani Chongwe, was participating because Nomvalo was not available today for a reason known that even Tulani had a problem of network. But indeed, the issue of alternate, I think it was discussed many times. And I'm not sure, why again we say we're going to consult the legal team. For me, I thought rules are there in terms of what must happen to the alternate. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, but Honorable Skothana, is not only today that Honorable Shongwe was participating. The honorable members are right that across all parties, it could have happened that the alternates participate in the meeting, even when the designated members were present. So I think we must just face it, all of us, and agree that it happened. And so if we need to get an advice or suggest the way you say that the rules cover everything, let's enforce the rules, let's just say it. Let's just say it. The DA?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, our view is a simple one. Alternates have been allowed to participate. And in that scenario, I think all alternates should then be allowed to participate. It's only fair. So it's all or nothing. It can't be some and not others. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Honorable Breitenbach. The EFF?
Thank you, Chair. The legal team, or at least I think our Parliament legal team, did give us an opinion when we were dealing with the issue of the letter that we received from Honourable Ghana, that members of Parliament can participate in committees, even if they're not the main member, but they don't have voting rights. So we support the position that that the alternates, not just because I'm an alternate, but because the principle and also in terms of our rules, that they should be able to participate, but obviously when it comes to voting, their vote is not taken into account. Thank you, Chair.
The IFP?
Well, Honorable Chair, I think we do subscribe to the principle that alternates should actually be allowed to participate, obviously, but not vote. Thank you.
Okay. Honorable Sols, do you want to reply?
No, except to say thank you to those that is appreciating the point that I'm making and is prone to fairness in this instance. And just to say that it is not that we're saying that the rules should not be followed. It is to say that the rules should equally apply to all. That's the contention. To say if other alternates are allowed, then our alternates should equally be allowed. And then in your defense, Chair, just for the Chief Whip, from day one of the meeting, when you rotated, you always went and asked FF plus, Action SA, FF plus, and there was total silence. Honorable Vessels only spoke once. So just to clarify that there was equal opportunity given to everybody. And then later on that changed. The House went a different route, no problem. But what caused me to raise the concern is when I saw that there's now not consistency, that the only alternates that are not allowed participation is the alternates of the other parties. And it is that point. But I want to thank the honorable members who seized the point that is made and is pushing for fairness. I thank you, Chair, and we agree that alternates should participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Sols. What we are going to do...
But Honorable Chair, I want to apologize. I want to withdraw using the word haphazardly since the beginning.
Okay.
All right. It's just so that we can all have a good weekend and end on a good note, on a positive note. So allow me to withdraw that word. It was too strong.
Thank you, Honorable James. Honorable members, what we are going to do is, Andile, in the next meeting, you should come and clarify this so that we should know the extent of the limitations we impose on all alternates, whether these are alternates of parties that have representation in the committee, and alternates who are coming from minority parties and are not alternates of their party members, but alternates of the other parties in the committee. So that when we impose the limitations, the pendulum must swing until it must swing in favor, not in favor of alternates from minority parties, but it must swing in favor of all alternates, and that must be applied equally. So we will leave it at that. Honorable Souls and Honorable James, your matter has been raised, and it has received attention of the committee. In the next meeting, before we start, the legal team will clarify it, and then we will know how. All of us will be in a position to know how we enforce it going forward, so that it must not be according to our own individual understanding, but in terms of established understanding that the legal team would have brought before us. Honorable members, with that said, we have come to the end of the meeting. I want to thank you so much for your participation in the meeting, for your forthrightness, and your commitment on a Friday afternoon. This time we are still in a meeting of a committee of parliament working for the people of this republic. I want to thank you so much for your time. I want to thank you so much for your contributions and the ideas that you have brought to this meeting. Thank you so much. Have a happy weekend. We will meet in the next meeting.
Thank you, Chair. You too.
Thank you, Chairperson. Same to you.
Appreciation to the legal team and the support staff. The meeting stands adjourned.